At these stress points, we've reinforced them with double layers, making the Cuban fabric much less prone to tearing. We were concerned that this ball bearing might pop out when it's very windy, especially since this tent is specifically designed for high altitude climbing. So we secure this fastener onto this fitting, which helps to keep the ball bearing from easily popping out. Hello everyone, I'm Wang Jigang. Today, we'll continue our discussion about tents. Today, the topic we're going to discuss mainly revolves around the new tent we've made, which is the Pretents Scout tent. Before I talk about this tent, I'd like to first discuss the concept of lightweight tents. We have recently been promoting our products in the European and American markets, and some users have given us feedback and suggestions after using our tents. First, from a theoretical perspective, if we want a lightweight tent, then most likely the structure of such a tent should be polished like a pyramid or a double peak tent. This type of tent structure eliminates the weight of aluminum alloy poles. So as a result, it can naturally be made lighter. Of course, if a better balance can be achieved in material choice, then a polished tent can reach the ultimate in lightweight design. For example, it's entirely possible for a tent to weigh between 300 and 500 grams. However, some users prefer tents with a better sense of space. They like tents with poles and are not so sensitive to weight. In this case, we can use poles to support the tent and create a greater sense of space, thereby achieving better comfort. Of course, tents with this kind of structure will naturally be a bit heavier. So the tent that we're introducing to you today is actually a two-person tent, complete with a sturdy frame, and it's made using high-quality DAC poles. Before talking about this Scout tent, the first thing I want to show you are these two sets of DAC poles in my hands. This one is the NFL series with a diameter of 8.7 millimeters, and this one is the NSL series with a diameter of 9.6 millimeters. These two poles are fundamentally different. The NFL is lighter, while the NSL is heavier due to its tube diameter, thickness, and wall thickness, all of which are lighter, thinner, and slimmer. In contrast, this one is thicker and heavier. So theoretically, this heavier one will naturally be more stable and wind resistant. So if we need to go to a harsh environment and require better wind resistance, then we may have to make some compromises when it comes to weight. Let's compare the weight difference between these tent poles. The NFL series tent pole weighs 283.5 grams. The NSL series tent pole weighs 446 grams. Now let's take a look at the weight of the two tent bodies. This tent uses 10D fine-tex fabric for the main body, and its weight is actually just 1,047 grams. This fabric is sourced from the United States and is also a breathable material. We haven't obtained the exact denier count yet, but I estimate it's around 30D, so its weight will be slightly heavier. The weight of the main body is approximately 1,201 grams, and when using the NFL pole, the weight of the Scout without ground stakes is approximately 1,484 grams. If we use a thicker NSL tent pole, let's take another look at its weight. This weight is 1,647 grams, which is about 200 grams heavier. Now let's take another look at how the tent performs. Here I've set up this Scout model from Pretents. So let's take a look at some of the features of this tent. Let's use this NFL pole to support it right here. One advantage of DAC accessories is that once we snap them in place, they stay secure, making assembly much more convenient. Open the vent. The Scout tent you see here is made from a combination of several different fabrics. First, its floor is made of 40D TPU fabric. As mentioned, our Goromity also uses this 40D TPU fabric, which provides water resistance. A layer of TPU is added on top of the PU coating of the fabric, so its waterproof performance is even more stable. For this door, we use the Monofila to make this 1.5 layer tent more breathable and provide a certain degree of wind protection. And because this fabric is breathable, we have actually applied taped waterproofing treatment on the inside. However, at the junction where the outer vestibule meets the main fabric, the vestibule uses 0.5 ounces DCF fabric. It's actually not possible to apply waterproof treatment to this layered area. Even though we've already applied waterproof taping on the inside, the interlayer itself can't be waterproofed, so there is still a possibility of water seepage. Therefore, before this tent leaves the factory, we apply glue to all of these layered areas. This process is very slow and is done entirely by hand, since machines can't handle it, which also makes the production cost relatively high. Next, I'll explain to everyone how to apply the glue treatment to these areas. We first need to open the glue, apply the glue with an oil painting brush, and then apply it inside the gap. We use this type of glue. As you can see, the inside has already been treated with seam taping and waterproofing. But for the layered areas, we still need to manually apply glue one more time to ensure everything is absolutely secure. Now, we've used double guideline points on each pole to enhance the stability of the tent. The 3 tents you see here are all our Scout models. The 2 white ones are the 30D version, and the green one is the 10D version. Although we haven't yet received the most precise specifications for the white fabric, based on my experience, I estimate its specs are around 30D. So there are actually subtle differences between these 3 tents. For example, this tent made with 10 Finetex fabric with 8.7 millimeter NFL tent poles is the lightest among these 3 tents. Although the bodies of these 2 models weigh the same, the one on my right uses an 8.7 millimeter NFL, while the one on my left uses a 9.6 millimeter SL from DAC. So there is a weight difference of about 200 grams between them. However, you can clearly feel through touch that the 9.6 mm diameter pole feels sturdier and has better rigidity. This tent is designed specifically for high altitude climbing, so its structure is 1.5 layers. The advantage of this kind of structure is that it can be set up very quickly. It has a sleeve-through pole design. Coincidentally, someone asked me today why I chose this sleeve-through pole design. In fact, tents with pole sleeves are more wind resistant than those with hook designs because the entire tent is wrapped up. When wind blows from the side, there's less room for the fabric to flap or extend. Of course, if you use a hook design with the same structure, unless the hooks are extremely dense and numerous, it's unlikely to achieve the same level of wind resistance and stability. However, if you use too many hooks, the weight of the tent will naturally increase as well. The dimensions of this tent are 220 centimeters in length, 110 centimeters in width, and 105 centimeters in height. The reason this tent is designed with a relatively compact space is to reduce weight and achieve a balance. So in most cases, as an emergency shelter, it's spacious enough for 2 people to squeeze inside. That concludes my sharing about this tent for today. We still hope that everyone will continue to follow us. We will keep sharing our passion and our understanding of tents, and we hope you'll enjoy it. If you have any questions about tents, feel free to leave a comment below, and I will answer each one. Thank you all.